I don't think that there is a shortage of people if you want to get that visibility plan together. And I think it's just a matter of finding people who are in the same community and being able to connect with other people. If one of your friends or some other connector has done a summit before, like, oh, hey, you had this person on your summit. Can you introduce me? That's a healthy way for every single person to win, right? Because that relationship on their side is growing. You're now introduced directly to a referral. And then now you've created another relationship. So just like scales and just like fire goes everywhere. So it's beautiful.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Chuck Anderson here, and I've got another amazing guest for you today. And wow, we've been learning so much, and we're going to learn even more today. And if you are looking for ways to increase your reach or market your businesses in ways that beyond what you can do yourself, then you're going to love what we're going to be talking about here today. I am so honored to have Marie Mack with me today. Marie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Chuck. How are you doing today?
I am doing excellent. And I just love doing these interviews because it just gives me a chance to get to know my fellow entrepreneurs and dive deep into your story. And, so many amazing things happen after the show in terms of partnership and collaboration, not just the information that we share with our guests, but, the connections that we make afterwards, which is so, so cool. And I look forward to that. And I know you and I were already chatting before this interview about that, and we don't even know each other yet. And that's right. So amazing about this. So, and it just tells me about, what a connector you are as well. So, Marie, I think a great place to start is I'll have you introduce yourself to our audience, who you are and what you do, and we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I work as an online business coach, focusing on scaling and systems for businesses. I have my business is firstcuttoclose.com. And it was all kind of created around the fact that I really love systems, checklists, and I started that whole love and passion from being a Black Hawk helicopter pilot in the Army, and transitioned it into the business that I have today. But it's fun. It's a passion of mine, and I see how huge it is for online businesses to have systems and processes in place.
So important. And I know we're going to get along great because I'm big into systems and checklists as well. Not as a pilot, but as a McDonald's grill cook back when I was 16 years old, where I got introduced to a lot of systems, a lot of procedures, and a lot of checklists. And that has followed me in my entire career, where we document everything and we have a system for everything. So
absolutely.
We can thank Mr. Ray Kroc for that. But amazing. How does that, what was that transition? So, you're in the Army and now you've got your own, your own business here. What's that origin story? How did this come to be?
Yeah, this is a fun one. So flying has been a passion of mine since I was really young. And I found in high school an opportunity to go into the Army and have them send me to flight school. So actually the beautiful military paid for my first degree, and it also paid for me to go to flight school. So I have a random aeronautics degree that I don't use at all. But as I was kind of moving through that career as a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, I met my husband. And we started a family, and we had a beautiful 6-month-old son when we were both put on deployment orders to go to Iraq. At that point, we had to decide, are both parents leaving? And we're going to leave our beautiful baby boy with grandparents, or are we going to make a decision towards our family? So at that point, I resigned my commission, and we have now 2 children that I was able to stay home with for almost it was 4 years before I started my business. And from there, I just kind of looked at, I'm a kind of a go-getter, right? Like I want to do something. Having a family and being home with them was fantastic, but I needed this like something else to kind of thrive in. So I started my online business in order to help take what I knew inside the Army and partner with those people who are online visionaries, those beautiful and amazing visionary people who have this really big and great idea, but they're not quite sure what steps they need to take to make that happen. So I partner with them. They give me plan, or point B. I give them A, B, C, D all the way through. And we make the steps so that they can actually see that happen. It's powerful. It's amazing. I do it every day. And I am super passionate about seeing all of those visions come to life.
Amazing. Well, you're definitely in the right place because our audience is all those types of people who've got big ideas, big dreams. They're building their business, some at startup stage, some at, their past startup, others that are, they're trying to achieve that growth or make that big impact that they know that their business and their message and all of that is destined to make. And sometimes for some it seems easy, and for others it's hard. I mean, it's definitely a journey, and so definitely supporting those people. I mean, you're definitely in the right place here, and so it's great that you're doing this. And and as a, I'll just back up for a moment for something that you said, because as I have 4 kids, and I could not imagine the choice, to have to leave, a 6-month-old, right?
Yeah.
And then,
right.
I mean, it seems to me like, serve your country, raise a child. They're both really, really, really important things. And, totally get the decision.
What do you do? Yeah. And I beyond grateful for my husband, because he chose to go. And I chose to stay. And so as a parenting team, we were able to do both. We were able to serve country and serve our family. Because any, spouses out there of military people, that's a hard job. And I won't go on a tangent on that, but just knowing that's a sacrifice just as much to be able to support our service members as they're going out there. But I think the biggest thing is just to know that we put everything into what we're doing, and in the kids that we have, your kids, my kids, like this is our bigger why, right? And so I'm thankful that I had that opportunity, and thankful to have a husband who supported me in like the hardest decision of my life, to say, I'm going to stop flying. And I remember getting that call where they're like, you're officially out of the Army. And I just looked at him and I was like, and that chapter's closed. Like, it's just done. And all this love and effort. And I'm just so thankful for those things that happen, and the support for family and business. And it's just amazing. So thanks for kind of backing up a little bit and letting me reminisce about it. But it's a beautiful space to be in.
Well, and I think it's important because, in some of my businesses, we do serve parents as well. And we invest in a lot of different businesses. And our big thing is to support humanity, to support families, to support parents, and help them to live happier, more fulfilling lives. And so I always resonate with the parent stories, because it's why I do what I do. It's why I work from home, and why I left, a corporate job that was paying me like really, really well. And, and so it's, I've had my own decisions that were motivated by taking care of family and being there for them. And so I always perk up when I hear those kind of stories. So it's amazing. And so getting back to your journey, so you go from military helicopter pilot to now you've got your online business. And the theme of our show is obviously collaborations and partnerships, and really leveraging relationships. How has that played a role in your business, as in terms of what you do, and then also how has it contributed to the growth of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am beyond blessed to have a primarily referral-based business. I don't market very much on social media. I don't have any paid ads. I don't usually market my services inside of any other marketing space. I get referrals, and anybody that's in business, to have a referral that comes straight to you is gold. And knowing that I have a growing and thriving business because of referrals is absolutely fantastic. So it's impacted my business in a huge way. In the beginning, when I was doing systems, and still currently, those systems revolve a lot around visibility and virtual events. So my team and I, we put together summits, challenges, webinars. People are looking to create that visibility, and we create that system around it. But one of the biggest projects that I had about 5 years ago was to put together a really big summit, a really big giveaway. And I found that collaborating with those speakers and those contributors was a really good way for us not only to get our message out, but for them to see me as a connector. So for the last 5 years, I've used virtual events as a way to connect with other people. And the people I'm still talking with today, I met 5 years ago at that first giveaway organizational space. And it thrives, right? Like it's not disconnected. Like you'll see the same people all the time in your business because you're nurturing that partnership over and over again.
Isn't it amazing how long those relationships can last when they're nurtured and celebrated and looked at, at for the value that they are, rather than this, like, I always must find a new client. I always must find a new client.
Yeah.
I'm going to work with this one for 3 months. Okay, you're done. Now I got to find another one. But, sometimes you find that one that you can work with for so long. I'm in now my 11th year, my longest standing client right now. We've been together 11 years. And counting, right? Like we're still going strong. And so imagine what it would be like in your business if you didn't have to try so hard, if you didn't have to look so hard for people. And when you meet someone amazing, like we're meeting each other right now, and then I know both of us are thinking, what more can we do beyond all of this? Because we're both connectors, right. and we value relationships in that way. But that it just really speaks to me in terms of what you're talking about. So, so virtual events are a big part of that. And, we always get asked all the time, like, okay, great. Like I should partner, I should collaborate. Like, what do I collaborate on, and where do I find people to collaborate with? So, what have you found has worked for you in your business?
Yeah, so especially inside of virtual events, those are summits a lot of times, and you'll see this, those are summits that are out there. People gather some of their friends or other influencers, and they put together a common topic and they interview each other. Those people are everywhere. Podapalooza, for example, like there's hundreds of us. We're all looking to connect in some space. And Kimberly has several different things that she does. She does Speaker Playhouse. Those are places that if you've never met anybody and you're like, I want to do a summit, they're open for us to go to for free and to connect with people. And we're given that opportunity to open up those conversations. And so I find a lot of value in that because we've gathered everybody in one spot. And if you never talk to them on that event, that's okay because their contact information is probably somewhere. And then you just circle back around and say, oh, I saw you on Podapalooza. Looks like you have something interesting. Are you up for being a speaker? So I don't think that there is a shortage of people if you want to get that visibility plan together. And I think it's just a matter of finding people who are in the same community and being able to connect with other people. If one of your friends or some other connector has done a summit before, like, oh, hey, you had this person on your summit. Can you introduce me? That's a healthy way for every single person to win, right? Because that relationship on their side is growing. You're now introduced directly to a referral. And then now you've created another relationship. So just like scales and just like fire goes everywhere. So it's beautiful.
What I love so much about virtual events and summits and, Speakers Playhouse and countless other networking groups that I could mention is that ability to connect and to find someone that you're looking for or find a connection. And sometimes too many, like it can be overwhelming and the follow-up. So I'd love to hear from you. And it's not one of my usual questions, but I think it makes so much sense because follow-up is so, for me, it's the one I emphasize the most with my clients because it's like, hey, you don't have a lead generation problem. You don't need more people. You have a follow-up problem. Like you have people in your world that you're not doing enough with. So, what's your go-to strategy or your recommendation in terms of follow-up and actually doing something with these amazing connections? Yeah.
So we're going to talk like for 35 seconds about very actionable tools here. So when I go to events, inside of examples, Speakers Playhouse, they always say, download the chat. So I download the chat. I send it over to my beautiful and wonderful VAs, and I say, take all these people and put them on a spreadsheet. Now, automatically, I have everybody in a spreadsheet. I have their email. I have them in LinkedIn. I know where they are. I take then 10 minutes to review who I remember and who I really want to connect with, check them out a little bit, see what their LinkedIn looks like, see what they're doing, make sure they're a good fit. And then I have my VA send an invite to connect. So I lean on my team mostly because it can get overwhelming, but at the same time, they're not necessarily an expiration date on that relationship, but memories are short, right? And so if I can say within a couple of days, hey, I just saw you at Speakers Playhouse, would you like to connect? Immediately they're like, oh yeah, I went to that and I don't remember you there, but let's do that. And so that's the first way I have it. And as soon as an email goes out, I use an extension on Chrome called Boomerang, and I will send an email request and I immediately boomerang it for 2 days later. So I have my systems remind me about that follow-up. And setting up the systems to help you remember means that you don't have to say, oh gosh, did I email Chuck? Did I not email Chuck? I don't remember if I emailed Chuck. Should I email him again? Like, you don't have to like put your brain power in that. You can just allow your systems to take it from there. So I think those are powerful tools.
And that's the power of systems. When you have a system, right. And I remember having a mentor very, very early on in my career who said, and it was one of my very first, experiences with managing people. And he said, look, you manage systems, not people, right? Mm-hmm. When you train the systems and everyone's working the system, you actually don't have to manage the people because the system is working. And I just saw so many of my peers and other managers trying to manage people, and they're trained and this is happening or this is not happening. But when you have a system and everyone's following the system, you really don't have to work that hard to manage people. In fact, they manage themselves because they're following the system.
Yeah. And not only do you not have to manage people, but you can create relationships with those people, because our team members, at least for me, that's why I have my business and I can do what I can do. So I would rather put emphasis on the culture that we're creating, that, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, I know your daughter was sick, or whatever those things are, or, oh, I just saw this thing and it made me think of you. Those culture create a deeper connection, because systems and teams, like, this is the way we continue to do business. So I think that the systems allow us then to create this human experience around thriving businesses. So I totally agree.
Yeah. And, it's so cool to meet another person who's like so into, systems and checklists and like organized. And was it the military that really kind of gave you that, or what did you already have? Were you already kind of predisposed to that before?
Yeah, I think I actually was. Have you ever taken a DISC profile? The DISC profile is like a personality test.
Yes.
There. Yeah. So I am like a 95% S, which is, I just can't not do systems. Now, how I got there, I'm not exactly sure, but I know, like, I'm the oldest. My parents divorced when I was 6. So I was always like in charge of my siblings. And so it always became this thing that was in my life since I was like 7. So I don't know if it was like predisposition or nurture or nature or whatever it is, but I'm beyond grateful that I'm just who I am and not trying to create somebody I'm not. Like, I'm not a content writer. Graphics freak me out. Like, if you tell me to make a graphic right now, I would sit here for 3 hours and I'm like, I don't know what color to use. Like, it's not me. But I can partner with people who do that really well. And I can have team members that do that really well. And just living and breathing in who I am allows me to be more true and a better leader for the people that are around me. And so, yeah, I don't know if it was nurture or not.
Well, and I think it speaks to unique abilities, because I think we all have unique abilities. And, the most painful times in my entrepreneurial journey is when I'm trying to do something that really is not in my wheelhouse. Graphics, content writing, yeah, for sure, not my thing either. But partnering with or hiring someone else to help me with those things, absolutely a necessity and a game changer or, me saver really, because saving myself for myself, I should not be doing those things. So, speaking, yes. Explaining, yes. Creating systems and checklists, yes. All check. We do all of those things.
Yeah.
And so focus there and then outsource or partner with everything else, and things get so much easier. So, or at least it has been for me. This is, this whole journey of being a business owner and entrepreneur, so much of it is about our vision and our idea, but an even bigger part of it is about our growth and always learning, always expanding, always getting better. And, I always like to kind of ask my guests, who their go-to sources are, what their go-to sources are for learning. So one thing I want to ask you, Marie, is, if there's a leader or an author or just anyone, doesn't have to be famous, that has been a big part of your journey and inspirational to you, that has been your go-to source for, information, learning, whatever, who's that been for you?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to probably say Tim Ferriss wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. Yeah. Do you remember that one?
I do. Yeah.
And it's been out for a while, and he's had a podcast, and it's been really amazing. But I only really tapped into that around the 2020, 2021, where it was kind of like, what do you do with your time now? And I reread the book. I listened to it again, and I just sunk into the fact that I can protect my time. Really what I got out of the 4-Hour Workweek as a book is I can protect my time, and it's beneficial for my business if I do that. But it also highly increases my productivity, right? Because I'm setting expectations not only for the people who are emailing me, but then also for my team, so they know how I'm setting up. So Chuck, you emailed me, more than likely you got a reply that says, this is how I like to work my inbox. And it sets expectations on both sides. And so I just appreciate the fact that he did all these things and then shared that knowledge, and just in the last couple of years completely transformed how I work my business, which is pretty powerful.
Well, and I think Tim's story echoes so many of us as entrepreneurs, that moment of being overwhelmed by all of the things that are coming at you. And then that point of, okay, this isn't happening. I'm not going to be able to handle all of these things. So from now on, I'm checking my email first time of the day at noon. And so I can focus in the mornings on getting stuff done. And then I'm not going to check it again until 5. How amazing is that, right? And so that was huge for me also. And so Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek, I haven't read it for a while, but I might go back and recheck it out now, and we'll definitely link to it here for our listeners.
Yeah.
So Marie, thank you so much for sharing your story and your recommendation here. If anyone here has been inspired by what you've said or really needs that kind of help that you can provide, let everyone know where they can get a hold of you and where they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know I mentioned I'm not really a content creator, but social media for me is really LinkedIn. So find me on LinkedIn, Marie Mack at LinkedIn, which is pretty easy to find. And then I also have my website, which is firstcuptoclose.com. And on there, you'll find a couple different resources, including my free Supercharge Your Productivity, which is a 3-part mini training that I just help people create this productive space using Trello. So
fantastic. Well, we're going to make sure we link to all of that, and we highly encourage you to reach out to Marie. And brilliant name for a website. I'm so jealous of the name of your website. I think it's really cool. I'm a LinkedIn user as well, so we'll make sure you and I connect on LinkedIn. We'll link to it down below in the show notes as well. Marie, thank you so much for being on the show. I wish I could talk to you for another hour, because this is just, I think we've only scratched the surface of what we could talk about here. So I really welcome the opportunity to speak to you again. And, so just as we sign off, if you have one last word of wisdom or piece of advice for our audience, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say just be true to who you are in your business, and don't try to stick yourself into what other people are doing. So.
Great advice. Great advice. So, Marie, thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Please do connect with Marie and tune in to our next episode. And in the meantime, keep moving forward, keep being awesome in the pursuit of your dream and your world-changing business idea. And we'll see you here for the next one. Thank you.
Thanks.